Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. In this episode, we discuss the phenomenon of sleep with my guest, Carolina Ramuski. We discuss why sleep is important, what circadian rhythms actually are, and the importance of circadian rhythms when it comes to our sleep. We discuss how the modern day lifestyle affects our sleep and what we can actually do about it on a practical sense. So if you want to learn about the importance of sleep, and I believe it's a very good idea that you do so because it's so important to our day-to-day life and vitality and basically helping us to be our best selves, then stay tuned for this episode with my guest, Carolina. Now let's dive into the episode. Caroline, welcome to Raising Consciousness. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice sunny day here where I am, so we'll kind of see how that lasts throughout the day. But especially being here in the UK. But no, thank you for joining me. Want to kick things off by asking you, what do you do? What do you do, and why does your
Mhm.
work matter?
So, I'm a sleep coach mainly. I'm actually I study naturopathic nutrition, but I specialize in sleep. After the pandemic, I saw the need, like we have a pandemic of sleep deprivation in the world, and there is just so many people suffering with their sleep. And then I was always so fascinated with the brain and sleep itself. And then the more I start learning about it, the more in love I fell with it. And I just realized that there's so many people that need, help with their sleep. And then I decided to go that way. Yes, mainly it. And I think it's very important because sleep is the foundation of health. So all the other pillars, such as nutrition, exercise, mindset, emotions, all of these are built upon this foundation. And sleep has the power of breaking or making every single system in the body. So I think, it's really important. And we know that if we don't sleep enough, our lifespan reduces as well. So if you're not sleeping enough throughout your life, and sleep is funny because the consequences we only see of sleep deprivation later in life. So when we're young, we know you cannot sleep and everything, but then later in life you see the consequences. So I think it's something that people need to be aware of. And the earlier you start looking after your sleep and prioritizing it and making sure that you're getting enough, it's just best for your own health, and then just your longevity and your life in general. So I think that's why it's so important.
What don't we currently know about sleep that we need to know?
I think how important it is and how much it impacts everything. We think most people just think, oh, I'm just gonna be tired and it doesn't matter, just I'm just really tired now. I'll catch up. Or the thing is, you can't really catch up on more sleep, unfortunately. Like your sleep that for example, if you didn't sleep very well last night, because life happens, I'm not gonna sit here and just say, oh, you can never not sleep. It's not that. But when you prioritize it, and didn't, sorry, let's go back to where I was before. If you don't sleep enough last night, so today you can have a nap, you can catch up. But if you're consistently not having enough sleep, like most people, they don't sleep enough during the week and they want to catch up during the weekend. It just doesn't work like that. You just confuse your circadian rhythm and you don't really catch up. And it's just like all the amount, and it accumulates all this debt that you can never repay. So I think the most important thing that people don't know is how impactful it is not having your sleep, because it impacts your immune system, impacts your mental health, impacts your ability to make decisions, your cognitive ability, even more, or your physical body as well. So I just think people don't realize how important it is and how much it affects your whole body and your health in general.
It sounds like there's like a compounding effect that when we don't get enough sleep night after night after night, would that be correct in kind of thinking and saying that?
Yeah, because definitely if you keep accumulating this debt, you can never pay you off. Even if you sleep in the weekends, or even, I mean, you can catch up, for example, in a day or two. Like you have a nap and then you catch up from that night, right? This you can do, but consistently not having enough sleep, this debt accumulating, that one you can never repay back.
So
That's the
what,
problem.
yeah. So what would you say to someone listening or watching to our conversation today who, let's say, have had a difficult relationship with sleep and believe that they can catch up on the weekend? I think that's a common belief, especially for those
Yeah.
who are maybe really busy during the week. They're like, oh, it's all right, I'll just catch up
Mhm.
on the weekends. And they're listening to this and they're like, oh shit, like they're realizing I can't catch up. But maybe they have 10 years or so of thinking and living life in this way, and so they're
Yeah.
maybe a bit disempowered by, okay, well, if I can't catch up on all the sleep that I've missed over the past 10 years, like what's the point in now trying to change that? Because the damage is already done. What would you say to those people that actually to almost like restart today? Like past is something we can't change. Um,
Yeah.
may have approached sleep in that way beforehand because you haven't had this knowledge, this insight, this information. So yeah, what what,
Mhm.
what would you say to those people?
It's never too late to start sleeping better, because even though in the past our body's amazing, it survives, it gets you going, that's what is trying to do, is always keep in balance. Even if in the past 10 years you didn't sleep well, obviously there is some damage. We all done that. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's been sleeping their whole life perfectly. And like I said, the body's perfect. You adjust itself. But the sooner you start prioritizing your sleep and getting this relationship better and improving your sleep quality, your life will improve slowly. It starts improving as well. So even though like you had all the damage from before, it's never too late to start prioritizing sleeping better, because then the body will catch up and the body will find ways of making it everything okay. Obviously, there's so many factors that impact everything in our health, and the damage is never 100% fully recovered, but at the same time, like you have to just start prioritizing your own health and understanding your body, how it works, understanding who you are as a sleeper, who you are as, like how does your body work, how does your mind work, how this kind of things. Does that make sense? I think it's just kind of understanding, fine, I've done that in the past. I'm going to change my relationship now. And then from now on, I'll start prioritizing, paying attention, and making it better. I think it's not also like the doom of the, oh, you're done now. It's not like that. Our bodies is just super intelligent, and it can just sort of catch up and make everything better as you go and as you age as well. And I think like when we are young, most of us have had, lots of periods of like, I'll see when I'm dead, I'm just gonna party or whatever and just stay awake, and like I don't want to miss anything. The FOMO is real in life, and I think it's just wherever you are in your life right now, start paying attention and start prioritizing your sleep and making it as best as you can. Reality is different for everyone, right? Some people, they just don't have the luxury of being able to sleep as long, or but if you're prioritizing, I think having your sleep consistent. When you have your sleep consistent, the body understands and knows how to use the time that you're giving it. So I think even if you don't have all the hours, I mean, the hours is to comparatively well. Adults needs from 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It's not like the 8 hours. So everyone is different. Um, but if you have at least 7 hours of sleep, if you can, even if you say if you can't have 7 hours straight, if you have a possibility or opportunity of having a nap during the day, that also counts as well. So I think it's a matter of understanding where you are, understanding your situation, and trying to make the best of it.
Yeah, so it sounds like, and this is something that I learned throughout my own health journey, is like the realization that our body's always trying to keep us alive, right? Like that's as
Yeah. Yes.
like primary job. So yes, in the past we may, you know, for those who may not have been sleeping great, and I think that also we all, on some level, have periods within our lives where maybe we weren't a great sleeper, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we're not going to be a great sleeper for like the rest of our lives. I think sometimes we can. It's
Yes.
come up in a few episodes actually. This idea of our identity and like the labels that
Mm-hmm.
we attach ourselves and our beliefs. You know, and actually for some people
Yeah.
that relationship with sleep is may not be the best, and they may have those labels of like I'm not a great sleeper, but that might be
Yeah.
something that could have been true in the past, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be true in the future
Exactly.
if we start to actually raise more consciousness or you know around sleep and how important it
Yeah.
is. So what would you say to people who
Exactly.
maybe have some of those limiting beliefs and the language that they use to describe their relationship with sleep is, you know, oh, but Caroline, I'm not a great sleeper. Like, how do they
Yeah.
start to improve their relationship with sleep?
Yeah, I think the belief is a huge thing, and I think it's one of the main things that I see, especially like people who have had insomnia for a long time, parents who have had children, and they say, "Oh, now this is how I am. I don't sleep anymore," and they kind of accept it and this is allowed. It's not true. It's not true. First thing you have to understand, it's not true. It's never too late to start sleeping well again. Think about a time when you did sleep well and go back to that time and think what was going on, how did I sleep well, and then just working on your beliefs I think journaling is a great way of working on beliefs and limiting beliefs, because you can challenge your beliefs. You can always challenge. It's not set in stone. So if you think, for example, oh, I'm a terrible sleeper, and you keep repeating this to yourself, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like our words to ourselves matter, and the more you, how do you say, you keep repeating this to yourself, the more it starts becoming your reality and your identity,
Mm.
because you identify with yourself. And I think with habits and everything in general, identity is the deepest level that you can, like, is the deepest level. So for you to change your identity, you need to change. For you to change your habits and all these beliefs, you have to change your identity. And once you are able to do that, then everything becomes easier for you to
Yeah.
change your mindset and your life and everything else. So I think it's really important to work on your beliefs. I think this is the main thing, one of the main things. Understanding who you are, accept the things that you can't change, but understand there's a lot of things that you can change. And if you can change, then just do it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's easier said than done, for sure. But it's possible. And I think everyone should start challenging their beliefs as well. But yeah, why do I say I'm not a great sleeper? What is the evidence of that? But yeah, I have the evidence because the past however much months or years I haven't been sleeping well. Yes, okay. But are you capable of sleeping well? Yes, we all are. This is our nature. Every single mammal sleeps. So it's important. It's something that is really important for our bodies, right? And for our health. So you are able, it's just the beliefs that stop you. I remember before, I used to have a huge belief that I couldn't nap, because if I was napping, I was being unproductive, I was being lazy, and wasn't doing, like, wasting time. And every time I tried to fall to have a nap, I wouldn't. My brain would not let me, because all this thinking was coming. Oh, you're being lazy. Oh, you're being unproductive. Oh, there are so many things you should be doing. And once I started thinking, okay, but is that really true? Is that really true? That's tough, asking yourself and going, like, this is not true. Then once I gave myself permission, I remember in the early days when I started learning about this, every time I wanted to have a nap, for example, I would start with a little mantra. I give myself permission to sleep. I give myself permission to sleep. This way that I started to kind of being able to nap. And now it's just easy. If I need to have a nap, I'll just lie down and I'll sleep. So I think it's important. Like beliefs it's a huge thing, and it's important to start working on it.
It reminds me of a saying or a quote that I seen once where it was like, "Don't believe every dumb thought that you think or something," right? And it's about like,
Yeah, 100%.
you know,
Being aware, like I said.
yeah, like if it's our thoughts or, well, I mean, our thoughts usually come from our beliefs in some way, but with
Yeah,
our beliefs,
100%.
they've been in a way like programmed into us, like as we've grown up and
Yeah.
developed, etc.
Some beliefs are not even
Growing up.
ours. Some
Exactly,
beliefs are not even ours.
yeah.
Some stuff that passed on from our families or from our parents, how they spoke to us or people around us, And then I think I love this quote that you said. Don't believe every thought you have. Like just don't. And then the way to do that is being aware of your thoughts,
Mm.
and really paying attention to your thoughts. I think there's a great book that really helped me with this was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I think actually A New Worth, it's the follow-up of the Power of Now. I think was more helpful than the Power of Now actually, because it really teaches you how to be one with your thoughts and like be the observer. And once you can be the observer, then you can challenge your thoughts. Because if you engage with every thought and you believe every thought that is coming to your head, then that's it. You can't do anything, and then you are into this rumination, and it's horrible. You can't do anything. Or once you can be the observer and really pay attention to why your thoughts are telling you, and if you are able to laugh at your thoughts and think, look at what I'm saying to myself. This is crazy. This is not true. And then try to find things in your life to disprove all these negative thoughts and all this stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. I think this is really helpful to be the observer. There's a really nice that's app, Headspace. They have a really good analogy about meditation and being aware of your thoughts, which they say you are looking into a busy road, like a main road with a motorway, let's say there's all the cars are going by, and you're sitting on the curb just watching. So you are the observer sitting, and the thoughts are all the cars, all the traffic going by, and you're just sitting there just watching them and like seeing like, oh, what's going on, without engaging with them, without making them your own, just observing. And this is really important. I think it's a really great practice for anyone who wants to be more aware of their thoughts and be able to change these things.
Definitely, I love that an analogy you gave there with the motorway and that. But circadian rhythms. So circadian rhythms are
Mm-hmm.
something that is a byproduct of our sleep, right?
Yeah.
It's something that I've been fascinated by since I've come across what it is, probably a few years ago now. We don't get taught about it in school, we don't get taught
Yeah.
about
No.
it. And so for those who don't know what a circadian rhythm is, what is it
Mm-hmm.
and why is it important to sleep?
So your circadian rhythm is your 24-hour clock. Is how your body works. But all of us have this 24-hour plus or less a little bit circadian rhythm, as we call. So that's how our body works. So we all have that. So we have a master clock in our brain, which is in the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And this master clock is activated by light. So light is what resets your circadian rhythm and we're in start. So then when you are in rhythm, we all have different ones. So this is our chronotypes, which is your genetic predisposition of being a morning person, an evening person, or someone in between. And we all have that, which is a genetic thing you can't change, but it changes throughout your life as well. So, for example, when we are babies, everyone is a morning person. So, yes, you can even let everyone wake up really early and then goes to sleep really early. Then during our teenage years, we all go into the night owls. So teenagers, they really struggle with sleeping early and they really struggle with waking up early. So this is how it is. And then around our 20s, this is when your real chronotypes sort of sets in. And then if you're morning, out evening, or in the middle. 50% of the population are in the middle, which we call hummingbirds. And that's why we have the school times and work times, 9 to 5, these kind of things, because they're very in rhythm with the sun and the moon cycles. So this is your circadian rhythm, is how the day works, just 24-hour cycle with the earth, with the planet, with everything, nature, how it works. We all have that, and it's activated by light. So this also dictates the time that you go to sleep and the time that you wake up. So that's why circadian rhythm is so important. And one of the things that I advocate so much for is the first thing you should do as soon as you wake up is see bright light, daylight, even if it's cloudy. I know we both live in the UK and it's not very sunny very often. So even the lights, even the sun is always there, even if it's cloudy, it's behind the clouds. And even that light is so much stronger than any artificial light. So it's important because like I said, because this master clock is activated by light, as soon as you see bright light, your circadian rhythm sort of starts, if that makes sense. So then we have the light then goes, and then also we have our hormones. So we have the melatonin, you have adenosine. Adenosine is the main hormone for your sleep. It makes you sleepy. So the more you accumulate adenosine, as soon as you wake up, the melatonin gets out of the system and adenosine starts accumulating. So the more you accumulate adenosine throughout the day, the more you're awake throughout the day, adenosine accumulated, that's what makes you sleepy in the night. So then once this is called your sleep pressure, right? So it's this accumulation of adenosine in your brain. Once the night starts and melatonin is activated by darkness, so then when it's time for you to go to sleep, your body knows, melatonin kicks in and washes all the adenosine out, and then melatonin stays in for you so you can sleep. And then in the morning, cortisol, adrenaline helps you wake up. So you have high cortisol and adrenaline just a few hours before you're waking up. They start building up as well to wake you up when you need to wake up. Now, nowadays, most people have very messed up circadian rhythms because of our environment, because of our routines, because of everything that, work, like all the things that we have to do. So it's important to try and keep your circadian rhythm in check. So then if, like by having a consistent sleep and wake time, by giving your body the chance, by seeing lights, being outside as much as you can. The sun is very important to do all that. So that's what your circadian rhythm is. It's basically the 24-hour clock that we all have. And when you can align yourself with that, then your health is a lot better. Everything sort of starts working, like in the way it should, basically.
Yeah, because it doesn't just control sleep, but from what I understand,
No.
like every biological kind of process
Yeah.
within our bodies, and it's fascinating because
Yeah.
as I've learned more about and dug more into health, I kind of realized that actually kind of not coined this term, but thought to myself this term of like we're actually like biological beings, kind of a lot of the time, like we have all of these biological kind of processes and chemicals going on that are so fascinating actually, but also they're happening like subconsciously, we're just not aware of them, but
Yeah.
we might be aware of, let's just say if they are disrupted in some way, we're aware of then like the symptoms that the disruption can cause, right? So if we do have a disrupted circadian rhythm, that's going to lead to X, A, B, and C symptom, so we're aware of that, but not necessarily like the biological kind of disruption, if that makes sense. And that's obviously the body's way of letting us know, like, oh, red flag type of thing. So I would love to get your thoughts on that in a sec. But one thing I did, just kind of going back to the light, the light thing. So when we wake up in the morning, is it within the first half an hour, 90 minutes? Like, what do you recommend to people who you work with? Like the best, so we wake up. What's like the most don't really like to use the word optimal, but I'm going to use it anyway. What's the most optimal kind of time to get natural light, and what would you say would be the maximum time between when we wake up and light? So like those two sorts of things.
So ideally, ideally, as soon as you wake up, you go outside and you have your bright light so you can properly set your circadian rhythm. But I would say before 10 a.m. So before
Okay.
10 a.m., go and have a look in the out. Because then, so basically, you can shift your circadian rhythm with light. You can shift your circadian rhythm with three things: light, food, and exercise, right?
Mm.
So because our bodies, like I said, you have the master clock, but we have biological clocks in every single organ in our bodies. And our master clock is dictated by light, but your body clocks, your organs are dictated by food. So the timing that you eat and the timing, all of those things really matter. So there's a really great book about that. It's called The Power of When by Dr. Michael Bruce. He's the sleep doctor in America. It's really interesting because your
Yeah, I've actually
circadian
got that. Yeah.
clock, so your whole yeah, it's really interesting because it tells you, depending on your chronotype, which is very important to know. If anyone wants, I can give you a link to, so you can do a little quiz to find out which is your chronotype. I'll give it to you and you can put in the show notes. And then everyone can go and find out which the chronotype is. And then once you know what your chronotype is, which is your ability to be morning or evening, then it's much easier for you to understand the timing that is for you to exercise, for you to eat, for you to sleep, for you to wake up, all those kind of things. It's fascinating. And so I think that ideally, as soon as you wake up, but before 10 a.m. is the ideal time to see bright light. The earliest, the best, I think up to 10 o'clock. And then after 10 o'clock, you can't shift anything. So for example, if you're going to travel somewhere that is a different timing, for example, like jet lag and stuff like that, you can start shifting your circadian rhythm by seeing light earlier or later. But then after 10 p.m., after 10 a.m., your circadian doesn't shift anymore. So just kind of every day, if you, for example, if you have to find, it's more to do, it's a little bit complicated because it's to do with your temperature as well. Like our temperature is really important. Our body is also regulated a lot by our temperature, about a core body temperature. And during the night, our temperature drops, right? That's why we sleep, because our temperature, our core body temperature is low. You need your temperature, sorry. You need your core body temperature to be low for you to fall asleep. Now, when you find out what time is the lowest point of your core body temperature, then if you see bright lights an hour after that, then you can start shifting back the full or 1 hour after that. Before or after, you can start shifting slowly your circadian rhythm. So I think it's like, for example, if you're going to Australia, let's say, it's 20 hours, 24 hours difference, and a few days or a week before you go, you can start every day sort of like shifting a little bit your circadian rhythm, like you can start mimicking the time of the place that you are. If you can like start doing things like that, then you minimize your jet lag, and it just makes it easier transition when you get to the place.
Yeah, perfect sense. In terms of chronotypes, there's a few things I want
Uh-huh.
to touch back on in terms of circadian rhythms, but you mentioned the quiz.
Yeah.
I will link that down in the show notes for people to check that out. So I want to use my personal experience. So with my chronotype,
Uh-huh.
and actually what it's recommended in the book that you mentioned, the Power of When, and some of the research I've done, it's recommended that exercise is actually in kind of like I think it's like 4 to 5 p.m. or something. But I actually prefer
Uh-huh.
to work out first thing in the morning. So my question
Uh-huh.
is, how? I'm just trying to rephrase the question. Like, how is our
How do you know
chronotype?
which one is the right one?
Well, not necessarily the right one, but like, is our chronotype therefore just a guide, and we're also like, where's the line between actually checking in with how we feel, um, and using this knowledge and this information, and is it more of a case of like a guide and a resource that we can use and that we can refer back to? Because there are some
Yeah.
things that are recommended, whether it's within the book or just generally when I look into chronotypes, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, implemented that, great, you know again, for my chronotype, I am more of a morning person, and so some of
Uh-huh.
the information and kind of things that I've learned, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely that, definitely that, definitely that. But then there are some other things,
Yeah,
like I said, with exercise, where actually I just prefer to get it
done in
out
the
the way
morning.
in the morning, crack on with my day, and then obviously I still have movement breaks throughout the day, etc. But that more intense kind of form of exercise I prefer in the morning. I guess because
Yeah,
sometimes, especially within health, it was sometimes when we listen to, if it's experts or researchers, etc., we take what they say as like gospel, and we kind of forget
yeah,
to check in with our own bodies and actually, in a way, like what works for us based on actually what we've tried and what we've implemented. So where's your take on that fine balance between, and are these
yeah.
things more a case of resources and guides that could help us maybe get started on this path of better sleep or or yeah, living ultimately a better life?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said. I think it's is a guide. I think checking in with yourself and seeing how you feel is the most important thing, because you're all different, right? Like this is like a general thing. It's like you said, it's not gospel. It's like it's not like set on stone and that's what it is. And then you know how, oh my God, what are we doing? No, it's a guide. So this is most people are like that, but it's not everyone that is like that. So you have to understand how your own body works, and you need to understand yourself, and you need to check in with yourself and see. It's the same way sleep. You are for example, I use trackers, right, to track my sleep. Sometimes my tracker will say that I have great sleep, but I don't feel great. I don't think I did sleep great. Like, who is right? My tracker or my feeling? My feeling is how you feel in your body is the right thing. So the best way to know if you're sleeping well or if you're healthy and all that is checking in with yourself. Like, okay, I woke up. Did I feel like I slept well? Yeah, I feel like so. Do I have energy? Yeah, I feel pretty energetic. Do I need a ton of caffeine to keep me going? Maybe no. Is it just a habit or do I really need it, the caffeine? You know what I mean? Because most of the people, they just have a habit of straight waking up and then having their cup of coffee. But do I really need this to get going or not? If I don't have the caffeine, would I be okay? Would I have the mental capacity to do my things? Will I feel sluggish? How do I feel? How do your body's telling you all the time. And I think it's like being aware of your body, being true to your body, I think is the main thing. And I agree with you, like say selling the book is telling you, oh, you should exercise in the afternoon. Yeah, but most people they prefer to get it out of the way in the morning because then at the end of the day you're tired, you don't want to do it. Some people prefer to do it in the evening. So, and it's about your preference, 100%. And your genetic predisposition is that, like, it's telling you, like, what is your preference? And your chronotype is that as well. And it's funny because nowadays, with the chronotype thing, it's crazy because there's a lot of people who think they are night owls, for example, and they're not. It's just that condition they did with their environment and their lifestyle, right? And then when you
Yeah.
start understanding, okay, this is how there's a lot of people who think they are morning people, then they change into morning people because of work commitments of so many things, but then they're always sort of miserable. So you have to understand how your own body works, even though there is all this is just a guide, is a thing that is like, oh, okay, maybe this, because a lot of things make sense, right, when you
Yeah,
start going into
sure.
it and learning about your own things. But it's not everything because we're all different. We're all bio individuals. We're all different. There's no one size fits all to anyone, to anything in life. So I think it's really that's why I think your podcast is so important because it's bringing awareness and understanding like being your consciousness and being super cautious about your body and really paying attention and checking in with yourself. I think this is the main thing, and really, really see how you feel after whatever you do.
One thing you
I
mentioned
think
there
this
that I
is
want
yeah.
to, sorry to interrupt. One thing that I
No, no.
want to pick up on, you said there. So I have a family member who's got to get up quite early for work, and it's quite evident, he's not necessarily
Mhm.
into kind of, he's gradually coming into more, health, mostly through gym, like the gym, which is fine. We will have our own entry points, but yeah, he's not super educated on like circadian rhythms and sleep, etc. But it's quite evident, that he is more of a evening, or more of a night person than a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just look back through kind of growing up and stuff, it's quite evident. But his job requires him to get up early, right? So as you said, that
Mm-hmm.
actually there is then and it's fascinating because there is a different version of him on the days he's at work compared to when he's not at work, compared to when he's on
Mm-hmm.
holiday, right? And
Yeah.
it's something that I've been aware of, and it's like, and you obviously then learning about circadian rhythms and just health in general. I'm like, huh, like there's something in that, right? Because his natural tendency isn't to get up at 5 a.m., but he's got to do that for work.
Yeah.
So I guess my what I want to explore this, my question is that sometimes our life and the thing, and our job, most times, I mean, beforehand you mentioned parenthood, and that's a point in life that, some people may decide to go through, and that oftentimes can disrupt our sleep. But I think like our careers and our work is, can be a huge disruptor, whether that's we've got to get up at a certain time or we get home late, or for
Mm-hmm.
those that are night shift workers, right? So when
Yeah.
our jobs and when our careers do have a toll on our circadian rhythms and on our sleep patterns, what's the best way that you advise, if it's the clients you work with, or more general advice that you give to people to help them to navigate that so that they can be their best, still be their best selves, um, more often than not?
Yeah.
Like I've made some suggestions to this person in particular. It's like, could you speak to your boss and just go in a little bit later? Even if it's like not 5 a.m. Or so you can get up at 7. Like those 2 hours could make a big difference, and kind of you know, the-
100%.
these sorts of things. But what's your recommendations to people who actually do have these careers and jobs and um, livelihoods that do affect their circadian rhythms and sleep?
Yeah. I think first of all to ask, can you change it? Can you do something else that would be more beneficial for yourself? Then if not, I think there's many things that you can do to mitigate and make it damage control, right? Like have less damage than you can. For example, people who work night shifts, for example. Night shifts are really detrimental for anybody's health. Humans, we are diurnal beings, like we are meant to be awake during the day and sleeping during the night. But there are, jobs that we need. For example, police, we have ambulance, doctors and nurses and things like that. We need 24 hours. There's no other way. But then there are ways that you can sort of make it better. For example, people who work in the night, things that they can do, for example, is when they get out of work, if it's early, use sunglasses, try to mitigate it's all to do with the lighting again, like light is the worst of the day. Try to get as little, so when you need to be awake, you need light. When you don't need to be awake, you need darkness. So if you go to work, you come back work is already bright, sunglasses, eye mask to sleep, all those kind of things to mitigate and make it a little bit better. Um, your what you're eating as well is really important. Like because the thing is, when you're tired, it's really difficult to make healthy choices. This is scientifically proven. It's crazy. Your brain, like if you're sleep deprived, you're not going to be able to make the best choices. But I think it's being aware of those things and trying to do the things that you can to just make it a little bit better. So, improving your life in ways that you can, like with exercise, with food, with, being able to sleep as much as you can when you're not at work, and sort of like mitigate these circumstances in any way that you can. So there's a lot of different little things that you can do. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it kind of damage control. So it is not as you can do things not to be as bad as they could be, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, and also like thinking about your priorities. What are your priorities? Like if you have a chance to do something else that will make your health better, then yes, then go for it. But if not, I think sometimes, life's not perfect and just have to do the things that we have to do. No one has the same, I don't think everyone has the same opportunities or, the perfect life. You can
Yeah.
choose to just do that. But I think like being aware of how your body works, being aware of what you can do, I think learning, being interested in your own self. I really like the idea of you being your own guinea pig and your own scientist. Because our bodies is the only thing we have from when we are born until we die. Most of us know nothing about it. We know about how our devices work, we know about other things, but no one really thinks that's huge interesting in themselves. Like in the sense of like, okay, how do I think? How do I make myself better? How do I make my health better? How does everything work? And like just be your own scientific project and be your main project and work on yourself to make yourself better. I think this is the main thing.
I would just like to take a quick pause and break, but don't worry, we'll be right back. Our phones and digital devices are amazing tools that connect us with each other from anywhere around the world. They are what enable me to record this podcast and share it with you guys, no matter where you're tuning in or listening from. However, that doesn't mean that our devices don't come at a cost, especially if we spend too much time on them. I know from personal experience that extensive phone and screen time can have a negative impact on our health and overall well-being. One way it's affected me is through mental fatigue, eye strain, dry eyes, headaches, and blurry vision. This is down to the effects that blue light has on our eyesight and our overall health. Blue light is a type of light that is found in our digital devices and sits across the UV and visible light spectrum. It's actually everywhere, from in sunlight to, as I mentioned, our digital devices, and when exposed to for long periods of time, it can cause retina damage and contributes to things like inflammation of the skin, alongside many other health complications. It also contributes to the symptoms that I shared with you earlier, eye strain, headaches, etc. That's why I ensure that I take regular breaks that I call movement breaks from staring at my phone and digital devices. I utilize dark mode and night modes, and I use blue light blocking products from OcuShield. OcuShield offers the best blue light blocking products on the market that are medically approved by the FDA and the MHRA and help filter out harmful blue light to protect our eyes and our skin, and they actually help us sleep better. My favorite product by far is their anti-blue light MacBook screen protector, which once I bought, used, and actually continue to use, has massively helped me overcome mental fatigue, eye strain, and headaches. It's a game changer. I also love their day and blue light blocking glasses and the other products that they offer. I would highly recommend checking out OcuShield for all of your blue light blocking products, especially if you are experiencing mental fatigue, eye strain, headaches, blurry vision, and dry eyes. I've definitely noticed a positive difference since using OcuShield's products and will continue to buy from them. Their OcuLamp is next on my list. To try OcuShield out for yourself, head to the link in the show notes below where you can see all of the products that they offer. Now, let's get back to today's episode. A few episodes ago, I had somebody we were talking about like the mindset of becoming your own doctor, and it kind of reminds me of what like we're talking about here. But going back to what you said in terms of when you were tired, and basically not our best selves, it's difficult to make healthy choices. And I want to pick up on that because I think especially within like the overall culture, that we've created. So for example, if we just take somebody, let's say a nurse who is working a night shift, if you go into most hospitals, at least the ones that I've been in, they have vending machines and kind of all these different kind of things. And what's in those vending machines? You don't get a vending machine and get a piece of fruit out. You get a Mars bar and kind of sugar and kind of all this sort of stuff. So that is also then going to affect kind of every, as we mentioned beforehand about the biological processes within our body. So using a nurse as an example, let's say somebody is a nurse. They work in a night shift, they go in at 7, 12 hours, so they finish at 7. What would your, so before and after, what would you recommend that they do if it's meal timing, if it's exercise, if it's light, to help them to still be their best self, get good sleep while they are in this profession?
Yeah, I think it's important to plan. right? Planning is really important and helpful. So if you can take food in with you, that's the best. Just get everything ready before you go to work. Leave everything ready for the morning or evening whenever you go to. Say like let's say dinner. So she goes to work at 7 p.m. She'll come home at 7 a.m. When she gets home, on the way out of the hospital, hospitals, they also, not just the vending machine, but the lights, those bright artificial lights are everywhere. So it's like, it's already, it's crazy. But then try to mitigate. So I would say the sunglasses to avoid the bright light, sleep mask, at ear times is really important because usually during the day you have noises everywhere. So even in the night, sometimes depends where you earplugs to cancel the noise, eye mask to make your sleep better. Try to sleep as much as you can during the time, like however many hours your body needs. But also prepare yourself to sleep. I think it's important to wind down. So when you get home, you're always wired because you have all this light in this day and you've been working, you're buzzing. Do something relaxing, have a warm shower or bath. This is really helpful to drop your body your core body temperature, helping you to sleep. Do something that is really, get everything ready for when you go to work, for example. So if you're going to work in the evening, get your food prepared for you to take with you. And I think this is really important, especially because of those choices that you have there. And you're not going to be able to make the best choices. You're tired, you're there, the work just easy. Planning. So that's why it's important to plan. Get your stuff ready. Sleep the amount of hours that you have to sleep. When you wake up, it's going to be dark. So lights, even artificial lights, to help you to stay awake. Having a cold shower helps as well to get your body pumped and ready to go as soon as you wake up. Even if it's just, say if you have a normal shower, just in the last 1 minute, the last minutes of your shower, just tell it to the cold and get that cold shower on. Or even just splashing your face with cold water helps as well. I think planning is the main thing, and just trying to mitigate all these things, and like we've been talking about, understanding where you are, what are your conditions, what can you do about it, and just educating yourself on these sorts of things, and just planning. I think that's the best thing to do, is just making sure that you have everything in place that you need to just make your life easier.
Sleep tech. So you mentioned beforehand in terms of your wearable devices, there seems to be
Yeah.
just health tech in general, actually, there seems to be this growing popular demand and innovation within health tech within general. Obviously, as you alluded to, you're somebody who utilizes this. What do you think the role that health tech can play? Because I'm curious about health tech in general, and then obviously on like the sleep side, because some devices and actually our digital devices do emit EMFs and kind of these types of radiation. Some
Yeah.
some sectors within health are quite extreme and really be like eliminate all from the bedroom, from sleep. It has an impact on your sleep. But then when we wear health tech to bed, like what's the balance? Like, is there a balance? If we're curious about like how we are sleeping. So with somebody who is a sleep coach, somebody who is well versed in this topic, and also from what I can gather, utilizes sleep tech, health tech. What's your standpoint on it, and your overall kind of thoughts on where it comes in?
Yeah, I think it's very important and helpful as starting point, and as you use it to learn about yourself and how it works. Not everyone is good with it. I think there's some people get lost fast and then it starts going the other way. So I think this is not helpful. Honestly, I think it's very useful. I know there is EMS. I'm actually being doing a little research on the Oura ring and everything. I've been asking, is that there's a lot of EMS. Apparently, the EMS that limit is not really high. There's just like a little minimum amount. But I don't know too much about EMS, to be honest. I know that is increasingly getting. I, for one, don't have my Wi-Fi on in the night. I turn it off in my house. I'm trying to get everything else, but I do have the tech, and I think I'm sure there is a little bit of something that we will only know in the future. I don't know yet, but I don't think we should be using forever. I think it's a great tool for learning about yourself. It's a great tool to understanding what's going on. All of this tech, they're not 100% accurate, but they're persistent enough so you can have an idea of how your body works and how your sleep is going, these sort of things. I liked the technology. I think it's important, especially in the days that we are now. But at the same time, I don't think we should be using them forever. I think it's a great tool for understanding and for a period of time. But I don't know too much about EMF, so I don't know the impact of it so much. I know there's a lot of people in the house that just don't like them at all and just advocates for not having anything. I do try to eliminate as much as I can, but there is a little bit in the tech. I don't know how much and the effects of it yet, to be honest. But I think it's a great tool to have it if you can just use it moderately, not every, not forever, a few months, so you can understand what's going on. And I think also, like, with technology and how the world is going, it's sort of a little bit impossible to avoid all these things 100% because they're everywhere. So I don't know. It's a very interesting question. I need to comment on this a little bit more. I think I think it's a useful tool, but
Yeah.
I don't think we should be using it forever.
It's interesting what you said beforehand in terms of I think forgive me if I'm wrong. You said you checked your watch and or your sleep tech, and it said you slept kind of your sleep score was this, but actually you kind of felt a bit different. And when I had so I had a device beginning of the year, I think, kind of end of last year, beginning of this year. I was just testing it out, using it as a tool to try and get some feedback and stuff. As I think I agree that
Yeah.
it's probably the best way, especially if we do have, as we were saying beforehand, that difficult relationship with sleep. Let's do some insights and track some stuff and kind of see what's going on. Anyway, kind of go back to my original thought was I kind of noticed that how the school would say X, but I felt different, right? Like I felt, if one day it was sleep score was, I don't know, really good, but I didn't feel so good, right? And I was like, that's interesting. And so what I kind of realized that was that my number one focus is going to be checking in with not necessarily so when I say how I feel, it's more from like that energy standpoint, because I think sometimes when
Yeah.
we say like how we feel, it's kind of linked up with our emotions and stuff, and emotions can kind of come and go. But
Yeah.
when I kind of check
True.
with how I feel, it's from like that energy kind of standpoint, how
Yeah.
I feel in my body, and just developing that self-awareness and using these other tools is kind of like that second degree kind of tool basically to help us. So I would definitely agree with that. What in terms of sleep tech, health tech in general, what do you use? What do you recommend? From your experience, is there better ones than others? What do you use?
Yeah. So I use the Oura Ring. At the moment, I actually have three because I'm experimenting and seeing how they are. So I have the Oura Ring, and I have the Fitbit, and I have the Whoop strap. I think they're all pretty similar. The Whoop strap gives you a lot of data with so much stuff. I think the Whoop strap is one of my favorite ones because it just gives you a lot of data in so many things, especially your fitness, your sleep, how your body is reacting to so many things is a really great tool. I really enjoy it. I think Aura as well. Aura is really interesting because it mainly checks the web as well, but it checks your body temperature, which is really cool, I think. And I think they're really useful, to be honest. Like, I think, but like I said, even with trying all this, I think it's like how you feel is the most important from the energy point of view, not like your emotions are. Then, I mean, your emotions is important as well because, like REM sleep is what controls our emotions and how well you slept. We have deep sleep, which is the deep sleep is your physical restoration, so how you'll feel as in your body, physical body, like if you're tired, if you're energetic, all of that. And then REM sleep goes into your emotions and your mind and all of that. So I think it's important this is important as well, how you feel. Like, are you happy? Are you depressed? Are you a little bit, like that plays a role as well. But I think the energy point of view and always understanding how checking in with yourself, it's for being fit. And I think Fitbit is really good for tracking activities, like your steps and how much you got done during the day, like your activity levels and all of that. They all have their own thing that's useful. And they're all pretty similar, to be honest. They're very, very similar. It's just that some gives you more data than the others. Like, I think the Whoop strap is the one that gives you more data out of the three of them that I've tried. But also, like, you don't really need to tag too much. Like, for example, for sleep tracking, you can do a manual one. I can also give you a link, a PDF link that you can give to your listeners if they wish to. So basically, you're just writing down like what time you woke up, what time you went to sleep, did you wake up during the night, how do you feel when you wake up, how, like this sort of thing that you can start tracking manually as well, like a little diary that you can write. So you can just do that. I created one that I use with my clients for when they don't really want to use tech, or just to do it alongside the tech, because then you have like the subjective data and the objective data.
I like that.
And it starts to just kind of compare the two. And I think it's important. Like I said, like the tech is not 100% accurate. And sometimes you'll say that I sleep bad and I feel great. Or sometimes it's that I sleep great and I feel bad, but sometimes it is very accurate how I feel and how I slept. So I think it's just like it just builds awareness and brings, all this to yourself. And I think it's just really useful. But it's not for everyone, like with everything. So there's a lot of people who get really obsessed with it, and it makes you worse because then they're going to be checking a lot of, oh no, then check said I didn't sleep well. Oh my God, I'm doomed. Some people are like that. And it's just like, then if this is the case for you, then just don't use it. It's not helpful. You don't want this to create more anxiety and to create more problems. This is not the idea. So if you start to decide that you want to use any tech related to your sleep, but if this starts creating more anxiety and it makes it worse, and then just is not worth it.
Yeah, it's having that self-awareness,
Yeah.
isn't it? And I resonate with that. So I had an Apple Watch back last year, and I kind of noticed that I was getting a little bit obsessive with tracking my steps. So I sold it because I kind of worked out after using it for probably 3 years, etc. I kind of learned, you know, um,
Yeah.
how many walks, what my activity would need to be in the day to get to the recommended, like between 8 to 12,000 steps. I mean, every day I do way more than that, but I kind of learned over time what I would need to do activity
Yeah.
wise by using it. And then I was like, caught myself tracking it, keep looking at it. And I was like,
Too
okay,
much.
yeah, now too much. I know, it's served its kind of purpose, I guess, in terms of giving me the data
Yeah.
and the knowledge that I need. And now I can
To understand how it
move
works.
forward. Yeah, exactly. And I think, using these devices, health tech, in that way can serve us and can help us rather than becoming obsessive over it. In talking about tech on that topic, oh, and one thing I did want to say is the sleep tracker. I will link that down below if that's okay, the PDF, because I do something similar in my journal. So I journal every morning
Yeah.
when I wake up. It's like one of the first things I do, and at night. And when I wake up in the morning, I actually learnt this from um, is it Dr. Bruce, the sleep
Yeah.
doctor. He
Yeah.
done a Mind Valley quest, and on his
Yeah.
in his Mind Valley quest, he's got like this kind of sleep tracker. So basically, in my journal every morning, I write down the time I wake up, time, and then in the evening,
Yeah.
what time I'm about to go to bed, and kind of go through some of the things like how did I sleep, etc. I also write down my dreams as well, kind of like keep a little bit of a
Yeah.
dream journal within my
Journal.
journal. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
that's been helpful, and it's uh and yeah, it's just kind of interesting to like see the consistency or inconsistency in which time you're waking up and going into bed, so then you can adapt that as required. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. One thing I also wanted to kind of ask you was in terms of tech,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more broadly in terms of our digital devices, our phones, etc. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the challenges when we're talking about light that can disrupt our circadian rhythm, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what are some of so our phones, as I alluded to, but what are some other things that you kind of see that most people do in the modern lifestyle, right? That has an impact on their
Mm-hmm.
sleep, and if we do maybe like the top three that you see, and then a tip that you have how people can start to develop more of a healthy relationship with that, whether that is our phone use, whether that is whatever it is. What are some kind of lifestyle or
Mm-hmm.
um, modern day habits that you see that we do that actually disrupts our circadian rhythm, disrupts our sleep, and yeah, tip that can help people to pay
Yeah.
more consciousness to that.
I think so. Main one is ourselves for sure. I mean, we belong to it. People have separation anxiety, and isn't bad. Um, I think the low light in the phone is really disruptive. I think one thing that you can do about that is putting a filter on your phone. All the phones that they have are filters. I use my one red. So then if you have the red light, then it's not that blue light impacting. It makes a difference. Also putting your phone on grayscale is quite helpful because it's not as attractive. So you're not on it as much. I think this really helps. So you're not there. I have an alarm for winding down routine where an hour before I go to bed, the alarm goes off and then I just leave my phone, put it into charge into a different room, and I turn it off actually because I've learned that even on plane mode still gives you a little bit of EMS. So I turn it off and then I start to just do things to relax and calm my body and getting ready for sleep because I think it's really important. Most people don't do that. People just like wired and then go to bed, watching things, seeing things on their phone in bed, all of that. And then obviously lots of people have problems to fall asleep because you're so wired. So it's important to give your body the opportunity, to kind of relax, wind down. Also house lights. House lights are really disruptive. In the evening, you want as dark as you can, orange lights if you can. Ideally candle lights would be ideal. But I know it's not doable for a lot of people, and there's also the fire hazard. But it's just, trying to dim your lights, trying to minimize the amount of light that you get in the evening. I think also like being outside as much as you can. I don't think people nowadays they spend too much time inside. And I think we are, we are people outside creatures. We should be spending more time outside as much as we can. And I think like following the sun in the sense of like viewing really bright light in the morning as soon as you wake up, but also watching sunset if you have the opportunity to do that. Also helps with your circadian rhythm. That orange light of the sun in the evening like really helps to kind of bring you down every day. What else? I think just like your choices in food, the timing that you eat, is very important to not eat too early, like too late after, just at least 3 hours before bed, you shouldn't be eating anything. Because in the evening, you don't want your body to be digesting anything. You want it to be resting.
What haven't we spoken about sleep? That I'm sure there's a few things, but um, you know, one or two of the most important things maybe that people need to know, or it's going to help them moving forward. Yeah, what haven't we covered that you think is top of the list, I guess?
Yeah, I think we've covered most of the things. I think it's just like really prioritizing it, paying attention to what you're doing. I think the main thing, also one thing, no, your emotions, right? Like you have to understand and control your emotions. I think most people who suffer with insomnia have to do, it has to do with their emotions and how they feel, and like the anxiety, the depression, the ruminating at night. I think I think one of the main things is learning how you are, how your emotions work, and understanding how to control that, and to be able to relax and to be able to go into sleep. Because if you think about it, people who sleep well, they don't do anything, they just lie down and sleep, right? Because it's just the way it is. Like your body knows what to do. And I think giving yourself the opportunity to do that, giving yourself time before bed. I know there's a lot of people who are really busy and they don't have the time to take like 1 hour to wind down. You don't have to take 1 hour, even 20 minutes, even 10 minutes, whatever it is, just give yourself the chance to relax, give your body the chance to have enough hours of sleep. So if it also, like, the body is very intelligent, it knows what to do. So I think that the most important thing is having consistency in your sleep times. Because once your body, like if you every day you go to sleep at different times and you wake up at different times, then your body gets confused. It doesn't know what to do. And your body knows exactly how much deep sleep it needs, how much light sleep it needs, how much REM sleep it needs. And if you have a consistent schedule, the body will take that time in usually most effectively. So it knows what to do and it knows what it needs. So if you, like, every day you're going to bed and waking up at the same time, even at the weekends, which is important, then your body will use that time as the best as it can. So it really knows. Listen to yourself, listen to your body. I think this is, most people don't do that. Really listen. Our bodies is really giving us all the clues that we need all the time. And if you're not paying attention, then you're missing out. And I think once you start paying attention and learning how to control your emotions, how to deal with your own self, and then that is really helpful. So I think just really making it a priority. I'm not saying that you should never go to a party, you should never drink. No, live your life, but understand, make conscious decisions. I understand, for example, alcohol is really detrimental to sleep. It's really detrimental to sleep, right? Even one glass of whatever it breaks your sleep. And even if, like, when I know, so when if I go out and I get drunk, I know that no matter how many hours of sleep I'll get, I'll never get good quality of sleep. You don't wake up as rested as if you didn't have alcohol. But does that mean that I'll never drink again? Something, yeah. For me, I'm not a big drinker anyway. But sometimes, if I go out with my friends, I want to have a glass of wine. But I know what I'm doing. I know that this will impact. And this is what is the most important thing: understanding how things are, so then you can make cautious choices. And understand the impacts they'll have in your life. So then it doesn't mean that you can't do anything. No, but at least you know what's going on and you understand the consequences, and and then you start learning, like, okay, last night it wasn't so great. What can I do today to make it better? And this sort of going on and listening to your body, that's the main important thing.
That degree of living with consciousness is obviously what we're kind of all about on the podcast, but I think it's so important to live in our best lives, because then maybe we can implement some habits kind of either side of that can not that can make the effects like, even if it's like 1% less detrimental,
Yeah,
or maybe
exactly.
or maybe it's just like just having the consciousness helps us, because I think so often we live in autopilot, right? And so we might
Yeah,
go out, and one glass of wine, before we know it turns into like five, right? But when we have that degree of consciousness,
yeah,
maybe we set the intention of like, I'm going to go out and have a good time. It's going to be 1, 2 maximum, because I know the effects that is going to have. So we can still live our life, while
yeah.
looking after our health and our,
Enjoying it.
yeah,
Yeah.
enjoying our physical body, etc., etc. So, Caroline, thank you so much for today. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. We've discussed so much about sleep, why it's important, circadian rhythms. From what I've learned about sleep, and I'm not an expert like yourself, just listened to a few podcasts, with people
Uh-huh.
like Matt Walker and everything, who I know that you follow, etc. There's so many other things
Yeah.
around sleep that we could have discussed today, but I believe that what we have discussed is going to help people to make some shifts, make some changes in their life to get better sleep, and just to be more conscious around this part of our life, because as you mentioned beforehand, it's so important to our health and overall quality of life. Where can people go if they want to learn
Yeah.
more about yourself, what you do, and your work?
Yeah. So my main platform is LinkedIn, is the one I'm in more. So Carolina Ramuski, at Carolina Ramuski on LinkedIn. I think that's the best. My website as well, www.ramujohealth.co.uk. And yeah, email carolina@ramujohealth.co.uk as well if you want to get in touch. Yeah, but thank you so much for having me on. It was really fun. Any opportunity that I have to talk about sleep, I will be talking about it. And if I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can. But I think, people stay inquisitive, stay curious about yourself, understand your body, listen to your body. I think the consciousness is the main thing, be aware, and then once you're aware, like you said earlier, like once you're aware, everything shifts. Oh gosh, and for example, I'm a nutritionist, right? Before being a sleep coach. And once you start reading labels and understanding everything,
Yeah.
now I can never eat crap.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
convinced a game
sometimes I
changer,
want to
right?
eat crap.
Yeah, because
Like sometimes
like
like
you
I really
can't.
want to eat crap, but then I'm like, my body won't let me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's a
it's
great
the
example.
consciousness, and it changes. It really changes. It really changes. Like what? Once you're aware, once you're consciousness of what you're doing, it really changes your perspective of things. And I think it's just we need to be in tune with our bodies. I think that's the main thing I want to give to people, and just like pay attention, be aware, and yeah. Thank you so much for those are the best things.
Caroline, thank you. Thank you for tuning into this episode and my conversation with Carolina. There were so many practical tips and insights that Carolina shared that can help you to optimize and basically get better sleep. Thankfully, sleep is becoming more of a topic that is being spoken about in popular culture, because it's so important for overall health and well-being, not just exercise and our nutrition. However, our modern day lifestyles can mess up our circadian rhythms, therefore our sleep, as we've discussed in this episode. One way that I protect myself is by utilizing blue light blocking products like these day glasses from OptiShield. You can check out all of OptiShield's products by clicking the link in the show notes of this episode. They offer blue light blocking glasses like these, which are actually the day versions. They offer night versions. They offer different products for our phones and our digital devices, and so many amazing other products that can protect us from blue light, which is one of the main ways that our modern day lifestyles affect and disrupt our circadian rhythms. So head on over to the link in the show notes to check out all of OptiShield's products, and I look forward to bringing you the next episode really, really soon.